Hi, Year 2. Are you ready for the final instalment of the Magic Finger? I wonder what's going to happen to the Gregs. Is Mr. Greg going to keep his promise? Will he stop hunting? Will he not harm another animal? Will they get turned back into humans? Will the ducks ever leave the house? Let's find out. Get your copy ready. Get your finger ready. You're reading eyes. You're reading ears. Here we go. Let's read together. Then, all at once, everything went black before their eyes and they couldn't see. At the same time, a funny feeling came over them all and they heard a great wind blowing in their ears. Then the black that was before their eyes turned to blue, to green, to red, and then to gold, and suddenly there they were, standing in lovely, bright sunshine in their own garden, near their own house, and everything was back to normal once again. "Our wings have gone," cried Mr. Greg, "and our arms have come back." "And we're not tiny any more," laughed Mrs. Greg. "Oh, I am so glad." Philip and William began dancing about with joy. Then, high above their heads, they heard the call of a wild duck. They all looked up and they saw the 4 birds, lovely against the blue sky, flying very close together, heading back to the lake in the woods. It must have been about half an hour later that I myself walked into the Greg's garden. I had come to see how things were going, and I must admit I was expecting the worst. At the gate I stopped and stared. It was a very queer sight. In one corner, Mr. Greg was smashing all 3 guns into tiny pieces with a huge hammer. In another corner, Mrs. Greg was placing beautiful flowers upon 16 tiny mounds of soil, which I learned later were the graves of the ducks that had been shot the day before. And in the middle of the yard stood Philip and William, with a sack of their father's best barley beside them. They were surrounded by ducks, doves, pigeons, sparrows, robins, larks, and many other kinds that I didn't know. And the birds were eating the barley that the boys were scattering by the handful. "Good morning, Mr. Greg," I said. Mr. Greg lowered his hammer and looked at me. "My name is not Greg any more," he said. "In honour of my feathered friends, I have changed it from Greg to Egg." "And I am Mrs. Egg," said Mrs. Greg. "What happened?" I asked. They seemed to have gone completely dotty, all 4 of them. Philip and William then began to tell me the whole story. When they'd finished, William said, "Look, there's the nest. Can you see it? Right up in the top of the tree. That's where we slept last night." "I built it all myself," Mr. Egg said proudly. "Every last stick of it." "If you don't believe us," Mrs. Egg said, "just go into the house and take a look at the bathroom. It's a mess." "They filled the tub right up to the brim," Philip said. "They must have been swimming around in it all night, and feathers everywhere." "Ducks like water," Mr. Egg said. "I'm glad they had a good time." Just then, from somewhere over by the lake, there came a loud bang. "Someone's shooting," I cried. "That'll be Jim Cooper," Mr. Egg said. "Him and his 3 boys. They're shooting mad, those Coopers are. The whole family." Suddenly, I started to see red. Then I got very hot all over. Then the tip of my finger began trembling most terribly. I could feel the power building up and inside me. I turned and started running towards the lake as fast as I could. "Hey!" shouted Mr. Egg. "What's up? Where are you going?" "To find the Coopers," I called back. "But why?" "You wait and see," I said. "They'll be nesting in the trees tonight. Every one of them." The end. I really hope you enjoyed that story, and I really hope you enjoyed that ending in particular. It's been great fun reading this with you, and I hope that you enjoy the last few activities that you're going to do. Read up about them on the PowerPoint, and I look forward to seeing your responses. Bye-bye, Year 2.